Hey guys, it's Shannon from iHeartRadio on location at Yes Electric Tattoo Shop with Scott Helman. Hi.
Hey.
How's it going?
Really good. How are you?
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Especially you've been in LA for a while. So
I have, yeah.
You haven't been bopping around Toronto as much.
No.
But
I'm here.
Here
I'm
we
bopping.
are. And the reason that we're in a tattoo shop is because you've been doing tattoos, which is so sick.
Yeah.
How did you get into
crazy,
all of that?
I've always loved tattoos. And then during COVID, I was like, I really want tattoos, but I can't get them. Right. So I was like, F this, I'm going to learn how to tattoo myself. And then as I got more into it, I like started tattooing friends and peripheral friends. And like, I just realized I love the hang. Like I love sitting down with people and sharing that. And I know what it feels like to get a tattoo and be like stoked. So to like be able to do that for someone else is really sick. And then, yeah, I was in LA and I was just like tattooing all kinds of people because I was like, it's such a fun way to spend my free time. And then made an Instagram because people would be like, can I see like your work? And I'd be like, actually give me 45 minutes to like go through all my photos and like type tattoo in the search. And then, yeah. So then I made an Instagram and then I posted it on my main account and I realized like all my fans wanted tattoos. So I was like, sure, yeah, I can do that.
Incredible. Is it ever nerve-wracking that you think that maybe you won't do a good job? That would be my biggest
it's like
fear.
Deeply, every tattoo I've ever done, I'm like, this is going to be I'm going to botch this so badly. And I have yet to. Actually, that's not true. There was one that I did, not that it was bad in the end, but like halfway through the stencil rubbed off, so I couldn't see what I was doing. And I had to freehand it, and that was really upsetting.
Yeah.
But it was okay. Everything's...
And you do mainly stick and poke?
Destroyed a tattoo.
Or do you do both?
I started stick and poke. I do mostly stick and poke, but now I use a machine a bit because it's just faster. But yeah, I would say like they're mostly hand pokes.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Every Time.
Yeah.
It's such a good song.
Thank you so much.
It's so incredible. It's been stuck in my head all week.
Oh, well, that's what it's for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about like the inspiration behind it? Or was there like one moment in particular that made you want to write that song?
Honestly, I think it just happened. Like it's like it wasn't something I was like planning on writing about, which sometimes that is a thing, but it honestly just was in a session and it kind of came up and it happened. But I think the thing that's funny is like me and my fiance now, we dated in high school and then we broke up for like, we weren't together for like a while, like 4 years actually, and like didn't speak. Like we were not together at all. And then when we got back together, that song happened when we were back together, but it's about a time when we were apart. And it's just funny because when we were apart, I was writing like a few songs, not really, but I was like, that's that depth of like, I miss you. And like that kind of a heartbreak song I hadn't really ever sort of done before. Cause I don't think I was ready yet. I don't think I had processed the emotion properly, but once we were back together, I was like, oh, like I was able to assess that time in like a more of a rational way and write that song properly. So that's kind of what happened.
Do you find that with other songs as well, that you kind of have to wait until that situation or feeling is over and then do it, or not always?
It's like one or the other. It's weird. I find sometimes what happens is I'll write a song and I'll be like, this isn't really true, but I like love this song. And then like 2 years later, I'll be like, oh my God, this is true now. So I'm like, well, I don't know how that works, but it's some like cosmic shit. And then the other side of things is like that thing of like, okay, now I'm ready. Even though like it's not true for me currently, it's about like a time in the past. But I can never, it's really hard to write about something that you're like actually currently going through because it's like you haven't processed. You guys have no idea how long
zoom in on the drawer?
I have tried to tape this damn drawer closed.
I'm almost glad that it happened during
I know
the
it had to.
Yeah,
it would have been
bound
silly.
To happen.
It would have been honestly a waste of time.
Right.
Not.
Are you a believer in like right person, wrong time?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really believe in soulmates, but I do believe that like there are people that you meet that are like deeply special, and like there are relationships that are like not meant to be, but have like so many good things going for them. And yeah, wrong time sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. I have so many. I mean, I think I experienced it, but I feel like everybody I know has some version of like, wrong time. Because
that's what it feels like your story. Like you were together, but maybe at that time it wasn't supposed to work. And
it was, yeah. We were just too young. Like when you're 15 years old, like it was like I was looking at this person and I was like, oh my God, am I going to spend the rest of my, like, I'm 15.
Yeah.
So I think that's what was tough. And then we grew up apart a little bit, and we were able to like become adults. And I mean that it was tough, but I'm glad. I feel like we're so much better for it because we know who we are without each other. And like that, I think makes like the love more intentional. Right. Instead of it being like, I need you, it's like, no, I like actually just like love you and want you in my life.
Totally. So. I know some people that have been together since they were like 13, 14 and then
it's wild.
And have never been apart. And I'm like, how do you, exactly that. Like, how do you know who you are, or how do you have any experiences without them? So I think that's a good way to be. And
Thanks.
You got really vulnerable in the music video. It's so
I did,
incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
How did that feel putting that out there for everyone to see?
I can't remember if it was the day before or the next day. I was like, I went into a bit of a panic attack because I was like, is this like too much? Like, did I overdo this? Like, and also like, did I want that out there? But that's like every time I get a tattoo, it's the same thing. I'm like, oh no, like why? Even if it's a great tattoo. And then I think after a couple of days of processing, I was like, I'm really glad that was put out there because I don't feel like I feel like I'd already been pretty vocal about like my life and the things happening in it, but I never really just condensed it into like, okay, here's like the deal.
Right.
And I feel like that video was just like, here's the deal. Like, here's what I've been through. This is like my relationship. And it's just nice to just be able to like, okay, cool. Now I can just do it was sort of loomed actually before I put that video out. So yeah, that was nice.
Yeah. How was the response after that then?
Really good. Like super positive. I think people really connected with it. And like, yeah, it's nice to open up about addiction and mental health and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, it's just easier to, it's not easy to open up, but I think at least for me, like the aftermath of opening up is like, it's so much easier.
Yeah. Have you given any thought to like all the people that you by speaking out? Because that's a hard thing to do. And not a lot of people like have the strength to talk about those things. So you think about like the impact that has on other people.
That is moving. I mean, that's like selfishly, that's not my intention, is just to make myself feel better. Right. And if the byproduct is like other people can like receive relief in some way from what they're experiencing, like that's so sick. Yeah, I think the thing that was scary for me though was like because a big theme of the video is like my experiences with addiction. Mm-hmm. What I was worried about was like, now I have an expectation to be like a role model as like a person in recovery. Right. And like I really don't want to be that for anyone, because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. And my like future road is like, it's probably going to be complicated just like everyone else's. So that was worrying. But then the second the video was out, I was like, I don't think that is something that is even like useful to think, because I think everybody knows like we all have to make our own choices. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's like not your responsibility. 100%. Right. Everybody's on their own journey. Yeah. When you shoot a music video in front of like your old house, do you knock on the door and say like, hey, we're shooting this music? How does that work? Or do you just like show up with a camera crew and you're like, we're just going to do this? So I tried, but they weren't home. But I asked my fiance to marry me at that house. Yeah. And basically like that was my old house. And when my parents split up, like they both moved to other houses, obviously. And so like one day in the summer last year, I like went, knocked on their door. I'd already done that. And I was like, hey, this is really weird, but can I propose to my girlfriend on your roof? And they were like, who the fuck are you? So there was already a rapport. But I lost their number. It was actually very stressful. And then I was just like singing in front of their house, like kind of without permission. But I think it all got cleared up because like my mom knows the like neighbor and like the neighbor. Anyways, okay, I think we're good. So it's not like they like. I really hope we are, because I don't know if I have 100%. They'll just like come across a music video and be like, "Oh, that's our house." And exactly. That's the person that knocked on our door. But isn't that so funny how like you live in a house and like you like no one you know or you're related to owns that house anymore, but you're like, that's my fucking house. Yeah. Like, I get to do this, which is ridiculous, but that's kind of how I felt. So, yeah. I drive by my childhood home like every once in a while when I go visit my mom in her hometown. Like, and I'm like, oh, why'd they change the lawn like that? Why'd they do that? Where I'm like, I haven't lived there in 10 years. They are old. They literally like changed the house face, and I was like, It was kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Time.
How was your experience proposing? Was it as you had planned it in the things that you wanted to say? Because I proposed to my girlfriend like a month ago and it didn't go at all.
I honestly blacked out.
I blacked out too.
It's like when I play a show, like I honestly don't remember a single word I said. I have a video of it, so I go back and I'm like, oh, damn, that was really lame, dude. But no, it was scary. The other thing about it that was scary too was I was the way that I convinced her to come up to the roof was I was like, these people that live here now called my mom and said I left like a box of stuff there from like 7 years ago, which is like a bit of a stretch because like what they wouldn't have found it anyways.
Yeah.
And then I get there and we get to the house and I'm like, it's going to be really heavy. Apparently this box is like really heavy. Can you come in and help me carry it? Which is like so lame.
Was she suspicious at all?
Like, I'm not like, can you help me carry this?
You're like, I'm so weak.
But she was like, what? No, like, what do you mean? And I was like, no, just like, come on. Like, we got to, and I don't think she caught on until I was like, let's go upstairs. She's like, why is the box upstairs?
Right.
Because like, there's not an attic. She's like, why would it be up there if it was heavy? Then she started being like, this is weird. But she still didn't know. And then, then it like, she clued in.
Wow.
So yeah, but I was like, when she was like, I don't want to go in there. I was like,
yeah, what do I do?
Oh my God, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out.
I know. I had already stuck a GoPro to these people's window.
I was actually going to ask how you like got it on video as well.
I like went there at 7 a.m. Yeah, it was, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. You said on Twitter, I'm growing exceedingly interested in the idea of cringe.
Yes.
Can you explain that further?
So I had a really interesting conversation with a really good friend of mine in LA about cringe and about how like, I think cringe is like a huge part of our culture now. And even like sometimes I watch TikTok. I actually used to watch TikToks and cringe more. I'd be like people would do things and I'd be like, oh my God, that's so cringy. Like, but then as an artist and the experience of like, I just got to drop like 4 gazillion thousand million TikToks a day. Like everyone's just trying stuff out. And I think part of my fascination with it is like most of my favorite art that I love is like just one like bad note or like bad outfit choice away from being so cringy, but it's just at the line. And I think if people, not even artists, but just people in general don't feel like they can be cringe, like we're never, that's what like pushes culture forward. So I'm just interested in like what people find cringe.
Yeah.
Cause like, you know what I mean? Like some music is so campy and so almost cringe, but it's like the best. Like it's like Queen is a great example of like, if it was like one thing wrong, it would be like cringy, but it's like it's the best. They're like the best band ever. Totally. So I don't know.
I get that. Like Bohemian Rhapsody could almost be cringe.
Like, yeah, it could be so cringe, but for some reason it's
like
isn't.
Past that, and now it's like iconic.
I'm just so interested.
And you can't. I feel like every artist has to have been cringy.
Oh yeah.
Before they could get to like where they are now.
So much cringe for me though. I feel.
Part of this interview was we were talking about you giving me a tattoo. It got shut down by our legal team, unfortunately.
Come on, guys. Next time.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll clear it. We'll clear like 2 months in advance.
You have a story about like a crossword puzzle that has to do with like your grandfather or something.
Oh, yeah.
Can you share that story?
I think I can show you, but it's kind of really, it's like high up. That's like the bottom of it. It's like this big.
Oh, wow.
It's a little bigger than I wanted it.
But there's like an interesting story that comes with it, right?
My great-grandfather, all I really knew about him growing up was that he was like a genius and he knew like a million languages. And he used to do the Times crossword in the UK every day in like 5 minutes, it's like a really hard crossword. That was like in a couple of, you just hear a couple things about your great-grandparents. I was like, okay, cool. Sounds like a goat. And then I went one day, I sat my grandma down and I was like, can you just tell me like what this guy was up to? And I found out he was part of the brigade that liberated a concentration camp in the war. So he like went in there and like freed all the Jews from like a death camp. And I was like, that is so insane. So I went on like the archives of the Times and I found the crossword from that day, like the day that was liberated, because he probably wasn't able to do it. I mean, maybe he was. That would be crazy.
That would be insane.
Could you imagine completing that crossword and then liberating that's like a pretty sick day.
Or liberating and then coming home and doing the crossword. Yeah. Wow, what an incredible person to be related to.
Yeah, I feel very like, I think there's some people that like are very future facing and there's others that are very like past facing. I like tend to be past facing. I like get a lot of meaning from history. So I just was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's significant. That's so cool.
Thanks. Do you have any tattoos that you
have? So I have this one here. So my dad passed away when I was 9.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I found like old letters of his, and then I found all 3 of these words. So I like photoshopped them together, and then I got that.
What? So that's all from a different image?
Yeah. Isn't it wild?
That's so beautiful.
So I got that. That was my first one last year. And then these are really sad stories. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
But my father...
we opened with Holocaust, so
yeah, that's true. We're past
good.
that.
Yeah.
And then my future father-in-law, he's been in the hospital for the last 8 months because he got in a motorcycle accident.
Oh my God.
I know. So he didn't talk for like 6 months, but the only 2 words that he said in those 6 months that he like got out was "be nice." Isn't that crazy? So
my God, I just get goosebumps.
Yeah. So my fiance and I and a few people got.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Which is such a great reminder.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So do you have a favorite tattoo?
It's so hard. I think there's just this artist I love named Kyle England in LA, and one of my favorite visual artists is what's his name? I'm blanking. It's so cringe too because I said one of my favorite artists. Anyways, it's just he's just a really he's a really really good artist, and I love that tattoo. Cool. And then I also have my grandfather. This one I love. I did this myself, and I'm left-handed, and this is my left hand. So I was like trying to do that, but my grandfather used to stump up the stairs and like go fee fi fo fum at my brother, and we would it was super fun. Yeah. So I got like 4 F's on my hand. Yeah. Cool. I love that one.
That's so sweet. Yeah. Amazing. So you've come out with some singles. Is that on its way to an EP? Is that an album? What are we thinking?
That's a really good question. Right now I don't know, but I'm feeling like an album is what I want to do. But I'm kind of just focusing on just putting out as much music as I can, and then I'm just gonna kind of see where the chips fall and how it makes sense to put together. Yeah. But I mean I feel like that's what I was doing before. It's just now I'm just dropping the songs in a different way, but. Even before, I would just write a bunch of songs and put them together, and now I'm just putting out singles, and then they'll just probably come together in some way.
Nice.
So,
that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I got lots of music.
Nice. Yeah. We're excited for it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, love it. Sweet. Scott, thanks so much for hanging out
today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us in your space.
Anytime.
Yeah,
come get a tattoo next time.
Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah. Bye.